The horizon line in photography plays a huge role in composition, and understanding where and how to use it properly is a huge factor into the overall outcome of your photos. Here's all the key things you need to know about horizons in photography. In scenes without any obstructions to the horizon line like oceans or flat plains, the horizon is easy to spot, but in busy scenes with mountains or buildings, it can be trickier. So when you are struggling to find your horizon line in photographs where it is not properly visible, it helps to use your eyes and try and find a natural line at key points in the image. Think at the end of a road or at the top or bottom of a tree line to establish a level. You can also look for breaks in the landscape where you can visualize the end of the line and the sky beginning. Where you choose to position your horizon, either in the camera or in post, has one of the biggest factors on the overall balance and feeling of a correct photograph. The rule of thirds suggests placing the horizon on either the upper or lower third of the frame, which is the most traditional way of composing an image. A high horizon line draws most of the attention to the foreground detail and is great for when you want the viewer to really take in the forefront of your frame, while a low horizon line makes the sky the star of the show and complements a minimalistic style very nicely. A general approach that really works well is if that your sky was more interesting than your foreground, and it was one of the main reasons why you took the photograph in the first place, then go for a low horizon line. If the sky is underwhelming or not the main draw of your image, push it up to the top of the frame to allow more attention to sit with the mid and the foreground. For example, this black and white shot I took recently on the beach, the sky was completely white out, it was foggy in the distance as well, which is causing that white sky. There's absolutely nothing going on there, so there's no reason for the sky to play a bigger role in that image than being in the very top third of the frame. Similarly with this drone shot I took years back, the sky was completely white and washed out, so bringing that horizon line right to the top just allows the attention to be where it needs to be, rather than being lost in something that has no detail. Of course, on the flip side of that though, if you are going for minimalism and your sky has no detail whatsoever, you could choose to position it on the lower third in order to play into that minimal style. Some will argue that placing your horizon line slap bang in the middle of an image is a no-go. However, I disagree with that and think that there's many opportunities where a centered horizon line works really well. Anything that contains reflections always works really well with a central horizon. You may also have a subject that looks great in the center of the frame, but that subject sits really far up in the composition to the horizon, therefore the horizon ends up central anyway. You may also find scenes where you feel your sky and foreground has equal power in the image, therefore want them both to have as much room as possible. Much like this photo right here that I shot a few years ago in the Faroe Islands, in my opinion the sky and the water are equally as powerful. We've also got this light ray in the middle that I want to sit in the middle of the frame anyway, plus the subject in the background of that island works really well in the middle of the frame, therefore I've chosen to have the horizon in the center. I'm not saying it wouldn't work if I'd also shot this image with it at the top or bottom third, but there is a case for positioning your horizon central when you want to. Here's a great example of when the subject of the image sits really far up in the frame close to the horizon line. You find this a lot at the beach or on the coast when you've got something sitting out at sea and it meets the horizon line quite central. Therefore, I have gone and positioned the subject central and allowed the sky and the ocean to have equal space in the frame. And then of course you may come across scenes and photos that you take where elements or your subject are simply too tall for your horizon line to be at the top and still include all of that subject without cutting it off at any parts of the frame. In this situation, I think it is good to sort of prioritize your subject and including it all, not really worrying too much about where the horizon line finishes off. But if you can still get the horizon in a pleasing position, like this shot right here where the horizon line is central and that building right there has been included and not cut off, then you're onto a winner right there in my opinion. The horizon line can also be used to draw a line into your subject when needed. This is popular in portrait photography. Having a model's eyes sit on the horizon line draws a line into the most important part of the image. image. There will also be scenes and photos that you come across where you technically have no horizon line whatsoever. I mean, it's still there in the distance somewhere, but in this instance you can forget about it and put all your attention on being devoted to your subject's placement and the overall balance of the rest of the frame, because it's not really present in the frame anywhere and it's not splitting up your image in any particular way. You can kind of forget about it and put the overall balance and spacing of your image as your top priority. Ultimately, where you position the horizon line is completely up to you. It's one of those beautiful subjective things in photography. There'll be lots of scenes where both a low and high horizon looks great. Luckily, we're living in a digital age where if you wanted to, you could just capture each version of that shot and then decide which one you like the most later in post. A perfectly level horizon is typically considered more pleasing and what you want to navigate towards the most. However, a tilted horizon can be used creatively in certain situations and allow you to create a unique frame that could convey a sense of unease or disorientation. I realize this image I'm showing right now doesn't really have an actual horizon line, does it? But I can't find another example off the top of my head right now, so that's the one you're getting, I'm afraid. Now, there may also be occasions where there's an object in your frame that you want to be straight, like a railing or a person or something like that. But in doing so, in order to make that object straight, you're then throwing the horizon line off. If you've tried all the cropping and auto reframing tools at your disposal and you still can't get it, I mean, most of the time those tools do sort you right out, but if you still can't get the two things to sit straight, then here's a little tip in post-production in order to get that horizon line straight. First, when editing your image, get the object or elements other than the horizon straight and forget about the horizon line until you have completed your edit. Then inside Photoshop, as a last step to complete your photo, drag in a guide down to your horizon line, go to Filter Liquify and use Liquify to shift your horizon up or down. Do use this sparingly because it will distort your image if you go crazy with it and you try and shift a horizon that's like completely wonky to be straight. So just use it when you need it. Right, that's going to be it from me in this one. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please leave a comment down below letting me know so I know to make more videos just like this one and continue the photography fundamentals series. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.